We can't tell a lie, we can't deny it anymore. Well, I guess some people could. Like Vince McMahon. Maybe Vince McMahon is watching. And if you are watching, Vince, how you doing, pal? It's lovely to see you through my little window here on YouTube. But the wildcard rule is officially ruining SmackDown. Now, it's not so bad for Raw, because that's the first show that we see in a week, but when 24 hours later, we're not only getting the same angles, but angles that contradict the ones we saw a day before, I get pretty damn mad. Anyway, my name is Simon Miller, this is WhatCulture Wrestling. It's time to up those downs for SmackDown. Remember to subscribe. The start of SmackDown was absolutely wonderful because we had footage of Kofi Kingston's trip to Ghana, and I mean, what an inspirational video that was. Not only was Kofi overwhelmed, but every single person that he met seemed in awe of the WWE champion, and while this doesn't tie in to any wrestling storyline stuff, I don't care, because good is good and happy is happy. Give it an up. Dolph Ziggler interrupted before long, and you already know that this made no sense. His big point seems to be, well, you know, it should have been me, it should have been me. He keeps going that. But then he talks about Kingston at WrestleMania 35, saying that should have been him just because he's already had a good career. Anyway, we then had a video focusing on Dolph Ziggler's career, and Kofi Kingston responded to that with another video from Dolph Ziggler's career from December 2017, where, fair play to Kofi, Kingston did take his United States Championship, lay it on the floor, and just vanish. You remember that? It was one of those times we sat there going, what the that story didn't make any sense. And Kingston, following up on that, pointed out that this is maybe why you don't get any more opportunities, because when you did, you just walked away like a big chump. We weren't done, as we then had another video, but this time it was from Dolph Ziggler beating up Kofi Kingston from 2 weeks ago. So without all that Ghana stuff, this would have been the most generic thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's some hyperbole there. But we did have the Ghana stuff, and again, that was really heartwarming. Go and watch it if it's out there on social media. I bet it is. Kofi Kingston is a good dude. However, they all had videos, so I want one too. Production team, run it.
Well, it's been a long journey, but I always knew deep in my heart that I wanted to up those downs. And now, I get to up those downs.
That is powerful stuff. It was then the New Day versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and as you probably worked out, this was a fine, decent pro wrestling match because of everybody involved. And also, yeah, Kofi Kingston eventually hit the Trouble in Paradise on Sami Zayn, because of course it was Sami Zayn to get the win. That can have it up. There's also a bad in here because of the Super Showdown that's going down on Friday. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been reduced to bit players simply because they're not going to be on that pay-per-view. Now look, KO decided not to go, but Sami Zayn is officially not allowed to make the trip. He's not allowed. And that is absolutely disgusting, and therefore it gets a disgusting down. Ziggler also attacked Kofi afterwards, and that made me realize I don't care for any of this because it just feels really empty, like my heart. That's not true, because if my heart is empty, it means I've just got, what, like a big round circle? And I'm about to die. Shane McMahon was also backstage saying he can't wait to humiliate Roman Reigns later on in the night. And I absolutely hate that this feud is now taking over both shows. And then we got a moment of bliss, and I'm not going to play around today. No playing around. It was rubbish. I never use that word. I never say rubbish. I try and be a positive Pete as much as possible. But sometimes you've got to call a spade a spade. And when we take everything that did happen from this point, it doesn't just get a down, it gets the brow down. For you see, it all ties into what did happen on Raw, because if you did watch ups and downs for that show, I was quite excited about the fact, or at least I thought, that Alexa Bliss had turned face and maybe she was going to enter into a tag team with Nikki Cross and take on the Iconics for those championships, but I was utterly wrong, because here she had Bayley as her guest and she was just running her down and acting like a heel. And I also realized during this portion of SmackDown that I, like the idiot that I am, was focusing on the stories and focusing on the characters, whereas I should have been focusing on the coffee, because that was the focus on Raw and it was the focus here on SmackDown. The flippin' coffee, the beverage. Because really that does have more continuity than anything else that I saw. Eventually Carmella came out and she was all like, Alexa Bliss, I hope you're not going after a title shot, because that's not how things work. And then Charlotte Flair was also there to say that she talked to Shane McMahon. This is what I'm going to do now every time I mention Shane McMahon's voice. I'm I'm just going to go limp, as if all my muscles are giving up. Anyway, Shane McMahon had told Charlotte that it's going to be a triple threat match later between these women, and whoever comes out victorious will be the #1 contender to Bayley's championship. In that match too, a clearly bad guy, Alexa Bliss, got the win after she pinned Carmella after Carmella had been distracted in WWE's favourite finish with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose on the outside making a noise, and therefore we have to focus on them and nothing else. From now on though, talking about focus, I am just going to support the coffee. That's my favourite wrestler now, the coffee. And I'm going to shout stuff like, you deserve it, coffee, and fight for coffee, and something else. What else do they say? Oh, I know, let's go coffee. Let's go coffee. And I'll get away with it too, because some fans are going to think, oh, he's talking about Kofi Kingston. No, I'm not. I'm talking about the coffee. I want the coffee to be the undisputed championship of the world. All the 24/7 stuff was dumb too, but I'm just in love with R-Truth right now, and everything he does puts a smile on my face. And I tell you, during this particular episode of SmackDown, I needed to feel that entertainment so he can get it up. Truth was absolutely sick of being the champion, which is fair because it's now taking over his whole life, and he'd been petering Shane McMahon with calls all week, hoping to get something changed. Eventually, Shane McMahon ran him back on Carmella's phone because R-Truth had been using the wrong phone, and as it transpired, he actually has a match later, and it's going to be Elias versus R-Truth for the 24/7 championship. It will be a lumberjack bout, and during the match, the 24/7 rules are going to be suspended. That is now 2 weeks in a row we've done that. Look, my eyes have just closed. Anyway, Elias won that one after the Lumberjacks had gotten involved, but of course, as soon as that happened and the bell rang, it meant the rules were back in force and everybody jumped in and started throwing fists. Elias managed to sneak under the ring, but R-Truth was there and he managed to win that title back. And fair play to WWE, because you can go on all their social media channels and actually see that match happening underneath the ring, and that blew my mind a little bit because I was like, WWE, if you put this much effort into your whole show, you'd probably start climbing back up the ladder. Aleister Black was also backstage cutting another one of his promos, although now he's really angry because nobody accepted his challenge. It was absolutely fine, but my big takeaway was, I think we need to put Aleister Black back on television properly and put him in matches, because, well, I tell you, SmackDown needs it, basically. They need Aleister Black. Let's bring him back with his silky skills. Next, we had the same flipping segment that we'd seen on Raw, although now it was happening on SmackDown. What are you doing to me, WWE? I already lost my voice once this week, and now, with all this shouting and all this rage, I'm going to lose it again. But it was Shane McMahon, and he was coming out to the ring with the Revival, and then eventually Roman Reigns came out, and they had a big fight, but they didn't because Drew McIntyre was there, and he hit a Claymore kick, and then Shane McMahon hit Roman Reigns with the spear. You'd already seen it on Raw. The difference this time is that Shane was comparing Roman to a dog because he's the big dog, and therefore at Super Showdown he's going to rip his penis off and his balls. That's what he said. He said he was going to neuter him, and that's what that means. So to give it a down, I don't know, it's a down. But seriously, where is Rusev? Where is Nakamura? Where was Daniel Bryan? Where was Eric Rowan? Where is Heavy Machinery? Where's a bunch of other people that I could keep naming, such as Buddy Murphy? Because we keep having the same people on both shows, it's negating everything else, and it's really affecting SmackDown because it's gone back to feeling like a Raw rerun, and that was happening before the brand split in 2016 or whatever it was, and it became SmackDown Live. Stop it. Also, wildcard means unpredictability, and who's it going to be? Not Roman Reigns just jumping around on both shows. It doesn't make any sense. Lars Sullivan then did an exclusive interview and proceeded to talk for around about 400 hours how he should be compared to a lion. Then he recited the Three Blind Mice poem. I didn't understand any of this, but I can tell you, I ain't scared of Lars Sullivan anymore. Down. At least I did get to see Andrade, Finn Balor, and Apollo Crews to a certain extent. It was meant to be Andrade versus Apollo Crews, but that never happened because Andrade was like, I don't need to wrestle, man. I'm just going to DDT your ass into the floor. He didn't literally DDT his ass, he DDT'd his head. Finn Balor came out because they're going to have a match at Super Showdown, but then Andrade beat him up as well. They could have an up just because I liked seeing them, but this honestly lasted around about 47 seconds. The ending to SmackDown was brilliant though, and that opens up a massive portal that proves that WWE does have a major problem, because it was Goldberg coming out to address The Undertaker, and while nothing major happened here, just in my head, The Undertaker and Goldberg are massive stars, so I get excited just by hearing their music, and especially doubly so with old Billy Boy, because he's my dad. Goldberg didn't even really say anything of note. We could have probably predicted all of this before he did start speaking, but he was so intense, and the fact that he's Goldberg, it meant it just worked, and I absolutely loved it. I'm that guy. I'm a fool, but it's getting it up. Actually, no, he did say one thing of note, because at the end of his promo, he said, Undertaker, you're next. Pause, 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 pause. To rest in peace, Goldberg, father of mine. There ain't no way that's true. He can't be the next person to rest in peace. Do you really think between Tuesday and Friday, nobody else is gonna die? That ain't gonna happen. And if it does, we're gonna have some kind of population problem on our hands, so you should stop wishing for those things. When he said that line, the lights went out as they do, and the Undertaker magically appeared from behind him. And honestly, just go listen to the crowd reaction for this to prove my point I made just a few seconds ago. Then the lights went out, Undertaker was gone, Goldberg was all enraged and ready to go. And while I don't think that match should go any longer than 3 minutes, well, you did it, WWE. I do indeed want to see it. It just felt electric because of who was involved, and that is a very damning assessment of the current WWE scene, because nobody in that company right now really makes me feel that way. Also, is there some kind of like magic to the Undertaker's dong, gong, bong, and Undertaker's dong, I don't know what to call it, the bell going off, and the lights up. Can I do it? Can I do it now? Do it. Let's just make a noise and we'll see what happens. Yep, that's what I thought. And that was it. That was the end of SmackDown. It was kind of a nothing show, mostly because we are building to the stupid Super Showdown, which is one of the most, well, it's a dumb event, isn't it? We all know why. We've talked about it before. Also, while we are here, before we do overall up or down the show, I just feel it's my place to remind people the individual segments, because that's how we review things here, on ups and downs, don't equate to whether the show gets an up or a down. Because remember, on this episode of SmackDown, we've given a brown down, and that's not one down, is it? It's at least 2, 3, 4, maybe it's 5. I genuinely think the Alexa Bliss thing was really bad, so maybe I give it 4 downs in my head. So anyway, this week, SmackDown does get a down, but even if something gets more ups than downs, that doesn't mean the show was better. No one understands that. They won't now. I can already see the comments. Sometimes. I'm Repo Man, damn it! Give me some respect. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's SmackDown. Like, share, and subscribe. And over to WhatCulture.com and read Stone Cold Steve Austin yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon Miller, aka the Repo Man of 2019. Thank you for watching, and look, it's a crazy Wednesday as my mask goes up because you've just watched SmackDown Ups and Downs, and later on, I'm about to start watching it in around about 20 minutes, it's going to be the Best of the Super Juniors finals, and we're going to up the downs for that later, including Jon Moxley's debut in New Japan. What an amazing day it is. Don't know why I keep doing that. You're watching too many Stone Cold Steve Austin videos on YouTube. I'll see you later.